What does this mean if we get the trade deal? And how important is it that the existing tariffs are also rolled back and not just avoiding the new tariffs on Sunday?
Well, I think it's a big deal, and thank you for having me back on. Look, we need a shot in the arm. We've had a big week on the trade front, real momentum with USMCA moving forward. Hopefully we'll get a vote in the House next week. But with the China uncertainty hanging over the economy, hanging over, frankly, the global economy, the fact that we're looking likely we're going to have a deal imminently, I think the deal could be signed soon. They're talking about the final touches as we speak. And I'm confident that the deal will be a movement in the right direction when it comes to removing some of the tariffs. It's much more than just suspending the tariffs that would have gone into effect December 15th. I think there will be a rollback on tariffs that are already in place. That's a good news for the American business community, for farmers, for consumers. But there's still more work ahead, right? We're going to get some progress on market access issues around financial services. We're going to get something in the intellectual property area. We'll see how robust the chapter is. My sources in the government that I talked to over the last 2 days were telling me that there's more in it than we think, but we still need to see the details, and there's still more work ahead. Look, we're not going to get to the structural reform issues that we've been talking about in the area of subsidies and cross-border data, but we're going to make headway here, and we're going to have a shot in the arm for the U.S. economy. It's good news.
Exactly. That's the whole point, right? Will this phase one trade deal actually lead to a broader deal that would go into those subsidies and other structural issues? How are your members seeing the prospects?
Well, we need to push for the bigger deal. This is a step in the right direction. This is going to bring more certainty, more stability in the relationship. We need to roll back some of the tariffs for sure. They've been hurting our economy. They've been hurting the Chinese economy. But we need to see more progress on the structural issues. I don't expect that in the phase one negotiations, but you don't get to phase 2 and 3 unless you get the phase 1 done. So it's important that we build momentum from here, but we should not wait. I've been asked repeatedly today, are we going to wait until after the election? That would be a huge mistake. We build on the momentum that we get from this deal, hopefully in the next few days, and then we go out and try to work on phase 2, where we got to get at some of those core issues that touch on technology concerns and, frankly, go to the innovation agenda that's so much in our interest to address in the relationship.
Myron, we've seen markets move quite a lot on optimism about what is contained in this phase 1 deal. What would constitute a disappointment to you in terms of rollbacks? Because we've got here 25% on $250 billion, 15% on $110 billion worth of Chinese imports, of course. So what would be a disappointment if we're trying to work out where the market should look to here on rollbacks?
Look, there are no winners when you have tariffs on goods both ways. No one wins. China doesn't win. The United States doesn't win. It hurts both economies. But it's hurting China's economy more. Their economy is weaker. Our economy is more robust. And we've seen strong consumer demand here. But, you know, manufacturers and others are holding on cash and waiting for a resolution on the trade front. So the fact that we're moving on USMCA is good. I'm hopeful that we'll get a House vote next week, and then we'll move it to the Senate. And I think on the China deal, here's what I would say. There's no question that it was much more than about December 15th. Of course, we had to get something resolved this week because no one wants to see $160 billion more of tariffs. But it had to be more than that. China wasn't going to accept a deal with the U.S. unless they got something beyond that. And frankly, we want to see a rollback on the tariffs. I believe it will be more than the tariffs that were put in place on September 1st. I've had discussions with Ambassador Lighthizer. I've had discussions with Vice Premier Liu He. Both sides are trying to work on that. And I think what we got is a resolution that meets both sides' interests. China is expecting a rollback beyond December 15th tariffs, and the U.S. was looking for more concrete commitments on the ag purchases in the tune of $40 to $50 billion a year. So I think what we're going to see is both sides got something out of the deal. It's a good step in the right direction, but as I said earlier, more work is needed.